welcome back.
It's been a minute. It's been our friend Katherine had a mental breakdown. But you know what? I've had like 5 in the last 6 months.
Well,
so
you know, we were just talking about
you, me.
Hold
That's
on,
you.
not me.
She's popular. I'm not.
Hold on. Should we stop?
But yeah, so basically, Katherine and I have attempted multiple podcasts. We did a really good one a few weeks ago that we couldn't post because
Katherine had a mental breakdown. So
stuff wasn't working. And
so it was like, I think it was, I don't know, we already had 1 or 2 snowstorms.
Yeah.
We were piled up. We were here with the camera, and it shut off.
Yep.
Like 4 times in a row. Literally, afterwards, I tried to put it together, and I'm like, it was like days. I'm like, Winnie,
yeah,
I can't do it.
Yep.
I can't do it.
You know what's funny? When I was in radio, we, would do like the podcast after the after show podcast. If you used to listen, thank you. If you still do, don't. I'm just kidding. But anyways, so we sometimes, occasionally, we would be having a great conversation, and then Justin would be like, I didn't hit play.
Yeah.
I'm like, or he'd be like, oh my God, my computer froze. I'm like, I can't redo this. It's a one take type of thing.
I know.
If you can't get it done, that's why I'm a big fan of not editing.
Yeah.
You're auditing yourself because I'm like, there's magic in the one time. That's why I hate like the new age of media where everything's so edited.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's why I loved live radio because it didn't matter what happened. You just had to go with it.
Well, you don't like even
my podcast I do in Winnie's World is all I don't edit anything.
Yeah.
I think I edited one thing where I maybe said someone's name I shouldn't have, and I took the name out. Yep. But no, I don't edit shit. Yeah. I don't edit myself. Yeah. I don't audit myself, and that's why I have more issues than I probably need to have.
But you know what though? It's also it's people don't realize, number one, I do the same thing. Unless it's like if something like the light flickers or something, you got to change it so it just aesthetically looks fine. But most of the time, like even with the podcast I'm doing, I know like while I'm filming it if I said something that like I should take out to go back. But otherwise, most of the time I don't even like rewatch the whole thing. I just like edit it, put it up because so much work too. To you know what I mean? People. That's what I've realized. Yeah. Being in this, like you've been in the media world for so long, and obviously I've been in the legal world for a long time, like doing all this kind of stuff, and I love it, and it's really, I like it because it's creative and all that. But there's so much to it. Yeah, I'm like people don't understand behind the scenes, like just to get like it downloaded and then clipped and put out. So
being a creative is hard.
I'm sure people are like,
no, I know. No, this sounds like a first world problem, but I have a Patreon account. Subscribe if you haven't, for In Winnie's World, and I have the newest laptop that I have a hard drive so that there's not much on my laptop so that it's optimal. And when I uploading a podcast that's at 45 to an hour sometimes takes about an hour to process and everything.
Can you explain that to me? How do we live in 2026 where everything is instantaneous and it takes I was shocked by that sometimes it takes hours.
It does. So with Patreon I upload it to their website, whatever, and they process it, whatever. And obviously, like I'll change the settings on my, to record it so that it's like optimal to upload. Yeah. Still takes 45. When I first started and I didn't realize the optimization that I was, missing out on because I was like learning, that new tool. Right. I was like, it was taking like 4 hours. Oh, like I would just put it and I would go do my thing and I come back home and I go to the gym and I'd be like, oh,
would it be done?
Yeah, it was like that's why I started uploading it and posting it at midnight on Sunday into Mondays because I'm like, well, it's gonna take a day and a half to upload it, so I just do it and I schedule it because if it was quicker, I'd probably just upload it Monday morning. Yeah, but it's like I'm like no, it's like it takes some time. So people don't realize that until they're in it, and I think like even like I was like when I started doing more of my own stuff, I was like, oh, this is like way more time consuming like than you think.
Than you would think. Well, because everybody just looks at, you know, and a lot of it, especially, I mean, even social media stuff sometimes, like the TikTok, the Instagram, sometimes to me it's like I'm just spitballing and it comes out. But other times when it's like I'm trying to be more purposeful with my content, I'm like, it takes time. Like
when I do like a brand thing, like if I go like I was like I did something with Burton's, I did something with like a sleep. I did like if I'm doing voiceovers where I am a professional when it comes to other people. Are? Yes, when I work with other brands, I make sure I write myself a script and I voice it over, and that's where I literally. It's the funniest thing. I go in my closet in my apartment and like I close the door and I sit on the floor with my phone and I read like through, and then I literally might take 3 or 4 takes, and like it's almost how I used to do commercials on the radio, where I'm literally like, am I hitting everything? Is it sounding good? And you're like, where everyone just thinks you probably just start VOing it. Like, no, I have to like write a script because I want to say the right things, hit my points, make it make sense, not over talk. So like I remember one time I did something where I was like, I had this great script, and then I still had to fill like 20 seconds because of the footage, and I was like, I'm just gonna cut the footage down. Like I'm like, why am I stressing myself to have fill words? When you really learn, I think you'll learn. You've learned a lot. I've noticed how much you've come a long way with the technology. I just sit here and pretty out your shit, but you really have, and I appreciate it. You learn like how to make it that like it's sometimes less is more. Yes, you don't need to like you know. I even noticed with my podcast, because it's the one I do by myself. It's like obviously more of a monologue, that I was like, I try to keep it at 45 because you don't want to ramble.
No, well that, I mean, and that is that balance. And I think you just start to naturally like self-edit as you go. Like even with me, sometimes I'll do things and I'm like, that was a few minutes too long, Katherine. You know what I mean?
That's when I might edit
so it's
something.
like then it's trying to, for me, that's what I'm in the mode of now, like trying to not do it on the back end, and like the post part of it is like try to do it, remember it in the moment.
You try to self-edit,
But it's hard with people like us because we're gabbers.
Oh my God, we gab. I've been here for an hour and a half. I've been here. We've done nothing. We should have just made that in the podcast.
I know.
We talked about great stuff.
This is what I know. What are we talking about? Some of us off the record. You got to go to Winnie in Winnie's World Patreon to hear it. All the good stuff.
I know I'm in trouble right now with some people on.
I know.
Internet.
I saw you got some comments that you posted.
Well, if you guys don't know, I did a Patreon about my former employee. No, not employer. Old boss, not coworker. I wouldn't say boss. Coworker. An iconic person. His name rhymes with Patty. And so I was just telling my truth about working under that type of person and all the stories and blah blah blah. And so I did teasers because that's what you do in this business. You post a little bit, and someone was like, "I'm not paying for this," and I'm like, "Keep your $5, bitch." Yeah. It's like but it's slander, it's gossip. I'm like, no, it's facts, hon.
Well, you know what the thing is, and I was explaining how, you know, the truth is ultimately a defense to any defamation.
My lawyer told me I could say it. I'm going to start
as long as it's the truth.
No, on all my podcast, I'm going to say this. My lawyer, Katherine Loftus, approved this message.
Well, and you know, but that's the thing is, and there's a lot of, it's funny because, you know, sometimes as like, I think as a personality, like you've been in the radio business and you've been out there for a long time, like you also don't want to necessarily put it all out publicly, but you do want to tell your story, and you have a right. Everybody has a right to tell their story. If it I mean, sorry if for some reason it's, you know.
Well, my thing is, I would never be afraid of somebody telling about working with me or what I'm like as a person, because I stand on my shit. Yeah, right. And I know I know I can be like, maybe, you know, I want to say, I am sarcastic. Yeah. I'm sarcastic. Yeah, I love to joke around, poke jabs. I mean, but like I'm in good fun, and I have a good heart, and I know that, so I'm not afraid. Right. If anyone did a tell on me, I'd be like, can I come? Right. Like, can I join in? Right. Like, and so I think the only people that have an issue should be afraid of a tell all or something. It's because they actually are horrible people. Yeah. So it's like, you know, I would never make anyone sign an NDA to work with me or whatever, because why? Well, I don't tell the story. Right. We had a good time. So
you're only afraid of it if there's stuff to be said.
You know what I mean? Right. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep telling my stories, by the way.
Yeah. So everybody go on
Patreon.
Over to, yeah. Well, and that's the way. Like you know, I love Heather McDonald on Juicy Scoop, and that's what she does on Patreon. She tells she talks like almost like on a more like personal kind of perspective, which is nice for like the people who are following. Some people want that, some people don't need it. Right. And it's like, okay, if you want a little bit more.
Well, you know, because you have a lot of followers on TikTok, and like over time, I mean, you get to be friendly with people that are
I know. I feel like we have parasocial relationships with people.
I have so many friends that I message with all the time. Yeah. Like that have been like supporters of me for years. So it's like, doesn't matter how many followers I have or how long I've been in the business, like those are my people.
Right.
I'm always gonna
Right.
respond to them
Right.
if I can get to them.
Right.
And of course, you miss some texts or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
know. And I say that too. Sometimes I feel bad because it's like, some days I have like, a few messages and I can handle them, and then other days when there's like things going on and I'm talking, I'm like, please don't. I try to go through and like at least hide everything, and I'm like, don't feel bad if I haven't responded.
Sometimes I'll be like, email me because I'll see the email.
Yeah.
I sometimes won't see the message, and then everyone's like, how do I get in touch? If you want to talk to me and you feel like I'm not responding to your DM, you might be in like my junk or like my
That's sometimes they do go places into the abyss that you don't know. Like they don't tell
If you
us.
have a professional Instagram account like you and I do, or you TikTok, whatever. I have my my primary, which is people that I follow, we follow each other. Then you have your general, which is people that follow you. Right. Then you have your request folder, which is people that follow you but you've never messaged with them. And then you have your hidden folder, which is where Instagram hides if they think people are like speaking meanly or
like when people call me.
Yeah, call you bitch or whatever. Say that on YouTube?
They say, I don't know. Can I?
I don't know.
That's what I'll do. There's the edit in post. Yeah, why not? Can't
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know about YouTube.
I'll look up the terms and surfaces. I think you can say mostly anything on YouTube as long as it's not like harmful to a person.
Yeah. You're talking about yourself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I keep it at the top of my I keep it at the top of my folder instead of deleting it, so that like every once in a while when I'm like, I go in and look and I'm like, well, that person's a loser and I'm much better than them.
Yeah.
So now I feel better. And those nasty people, sometimes the nastier they are makes me feel better about myself because I'm like, you know what? Who are you on the internet talking to people like that?
I really don't think there's anyone that's ever really ruined my day from like them calling me a name.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever name you call me, I call myself.
Desensitized to it.
Oh yeah,
but did in the beginning when you were like, it used to bother me a lot more.
I always say because I grew up, like my family is the most tell you about yourself people. Like my mother would be like, I don't like that outfit. I don't like,
right.
Like my dad goes, did you brush your hair today? My mom's 1 of 13. I have 8 uncles. One of my uncles, I love him to death, but he is that guy for my whole life shitted on me. And honestly, it's like, at this point I was like, all right, why are you still shitting on her for? She's like 30 years old. Right. But like, it's honestly, it's always funny. It's always well placed. That's when I learned timing. Yeah. I learned good timing from him. He always places a joke, great timing, and it's always funny and sarcastic. And I think because of him picking on me my whole life, I actually have learned, one, how to do it in a way in timing-wise.
Yes, right.
But you can't say anything to me I haven't heard from my fucking family.
Right,
Besides if you call me like fat and ugly, but like whatever, I don't care. Like it's right.
But then that's what I mean. If someone's saying that, I'm like, what kind of person are you?
I really don't care. Like, I'm like, for everyone that thinks I'm fat and ugly, there's probably think that I'm beautiful. So like, I don't really care.
Right.
And I was like, and first of all, being fat and ugly never stopped me from anybody I ever wanted. But anyway, so there's
Girl,
nothing.
you look good.
Thank you. But there's no the Globe's coming in 2026. We're out of depression land after this.
Yes.
But I was like,
we were just talking about
I'm starting. I'm doing Pilates now. Well, you know what I said on my podcast in Winnie's World. My mantra for 2026 is podcasting, penis, and Pilates.
Oh, I like it.
I think that's been going good for me.
Where are you doing Pilates?
I'm doing it. I haven't been saying where I'm doing it because not paying me.
You don't have to.
No, it's a good place. It's in Milton. There's actually 4 or 5 of them in like the.
Oh, is it?
It's called. What I'll say. It's Higher Ground.
Yeah.
Higher Ground Fitness. And so the good thing about it is the membership. You can go to like multiple. So I'll go to Westwood or I'll go to Milton because honestly they're the same distance from me. It just depends on the traffic.
Yeah, right.
That time.
And what you're doing that day.
Yeah. But they also have like Mansfield. They have Weymouth.
Oh, do they?
And then they have some in the city that's like a different membership because it's like inner city. So they have like Southie and I don't know what they have there. But
I'm sure it's triple the price in Southie.
Yeah, I think
and
it's
everybody pays it.
I think it's $50 more a month if you're in the city, which makes sense that they pay more for rent. But anyways, so I've been doing that.
Do you like it?
I do really like it. It's very intentional.
Yeah.
And it's slow and controlled. And I mean, I feel like I've gotten stronger. And it really sculpts your body.
Well, that's
my
what
boyfriend told me my butt is getting bigger, which is great.
How long have you been doing it?
Since I did like the trial. You can do a trial, which I started in December, which is like for $50 you get like 2 free weeks. Yeah. And then I signed up in January. So about like 2.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about like it's definitely, especially like as you get older, your body changes, all this kind of stuff. Obviously, I had 2 kids and I lost a bunch of weight after like probably over the last like 3 or 4 years, it's just like slowly. Cause I was always like, I was always thin, but like curvy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I gained a bunch of weight when I had kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And you do just feel like, especially after a winter like this, I'm like, I need to get out. And I want to, that's what I've been thinking about. I'm like, I should really try Pilates because I feel like it would firm me up.
With your schedule, because you have a flexible schedule, obviously, with like all your, with law, you kind of work for yourself.
Right.
Like I go, like they have, especially I feel like they have really good ones. Like when I go to like a noon, there's a lot of like, you can tell moms in there. So they have 10:30, which sometimes I'll hit.
Yeah.
They have and then of course they have like the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then they have lots of class times. They actually have, and then they have some at night. Yeah. But like I usually go to like a 1 or 12 or 10.
Right.
So for you, after you drop the kids off, you go to like a 9.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking about. I just ordered my weighted vest. I was telling you about. I got a new leash for Nico, my dog, because now it's beautiful. I'm like, okay, I'm going to commit to at least a couple of days a week. Yeah. Because it's like, it's one of those things. I'm like, I'm not, like, I've never been super concerned about being real skinny, this and that, or whatever. No, but I want to feel strong and I want to feel healthy.
My mother, shout out to her, she was very slender growing up. Yeah. And then she had 4 kids, and she told me, like, as I remember her, she was always plus size. Yeah. And she told me, like, when she married my dad, though, like, I saw the wedding pictures, obviously. She had no chest. She was skinny, whatever. She played softball in college, and then she said with my brother, she gained, like, 80 pounds and lost it all. Yeah. With my sister, she gained, like, 60 and, like, lost most of it. With me, she lost it. Then with my little sister, I was like, fuck it, I had 4 kids, like, whatever. Right. So she's in her 60s now. Yeah. She's retired. She helps with my nieces, and my dad still works full time. So she walks 3 to 4 miles a day. Yeah. Over the last 2 years, she's probably lost 50 or 60 pounds just walking.
Walking is the best thing you can do.
And she looks the best I've ever seen her, the most fit I've ever seen her, and she always walks. And walking it's walking. It's walking. I've always lost the most weight when I walk. Like, you can do weight training, you can do Pilates, but you have to add in cardio. Like, yesterday, find ways to do it. It's not hard. Like, me and my boyfriend took the dog to Wallaston Beach and walked 2 miles. Yeah. Like, there's 2 miles.
And you think about it, too. Not only are you walking, you're getting physical, like you're getting fresh air, you're getting vitamin D, so like all that kind of stuff, like people say, ugh, but I'm like, no, really, like if you go outside, like it be nice finally. Yeah. Like I sat outside yesterday, literally just with there is something about, like, you can feel it.
For me, I don't like treadmill walking. I'm not big on it.
No, if you're gonna walk, you're gonna do it outside.
Well, that's because they're in the winter.
If you can.
This winter's been horrible for it. It's freezing. Yeah. And then the snow. Yeah. So now that it's clearing up.
Says the girl who wasn't walked.
Yeah. But I hate the feeling of like the
it's not
what's
natural,
it called?
like the tread.
Yeah. And then there's no change of scenery. Yeah, no. So you're like on your phone, you're trying to like listen to music. Right. So I'm so excited for this time of year. It's a great time to start to get out and enjoy. But you have a great walking neighborhood. You live in a great walking neighborhood. Yeah. You go around the block a couple times. It's a good mile.
Yeah. No, I'm in a good spot. So like, and I have a couple of different places like where I can go. Yeah.
I shouldn't tell you where you live, but sometimes I would actually drive to your neighborhood and walk. Yeah. Because it's a great place to walk. Yeah. Because I don't really have the best neighborhood. I live in an industrial park. So it's like kind of, I mean, like it's fine because there's not a lot of cars, but you're like, okay.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I mean. I live really like in a neighborhood. Yeah. So like no matter where you go, you got like a good spot. And that's what it is. It's just about like, I think it's especially like the world's crazy right now and it's hard for everybody. And it's been like, in New England, it's been cold and snowy. So
it's been the worst winter in a while.
Yeah. And I've heard that from so many people. Like so many people are like, I just really struggled this winter. I'm like, I know, me too.
And I think not on top of the snow, it was how cold it was.
Yes. Yeah.
If it had been a couple snowstorms and it was like we were holding at like 30s and 40s every day, I don't think it would be at. But the frigidness and like you were just not going into the house and that was it.
And that's it.
The time, So with the time change back and it's a new day for Katherine and Winnie. So that's why this podcast will continue and bigger volume.
And we're recording, right?
Oh my God, I hope.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good.
Okay. See, I get like, but that's what happens to me though. That's what happens to me like mid things. I start panicking and I'm like, is it recorded? Is it recorded?
Well, it's so funny when I was on the radio half the time I'm like, are we on it? Like we're on air, right? Because because you just think you're chatting with your friends. Right. But that's like, so I'm like, I was like, oh, and then like we would go off air. I'm like, I have to make sure the mics are off.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, I made that mistake so many times where I was like, mic was not off.
Well, I would imagine it's like you just get so like used to sort of like you're just in the flow. You forget
you came in there, you saw what it was like.
Right.
Yeah,
very, well, that's funny. It's again like coming into sort of this different kind of space for me. It was like, oh, this is how it's sounded. I'm like, oh, this is you. Like, I think
It's
when
not what
people
you
no, it's
imagine.
not. I was like, oh, it's just like
we're
a little
in
room,
we're,
like
we're
in an industrial park,
we're in an office
basically.
building.
Yeah.
We share walls with like I think it was like the MBTA, not the MBTA. It was like the trains.
Yes. Right.
The MBTA or some dispatching thing, and like some, I don't know. There was just random other companies in there.
But in that it was like, and you know, it's funny. I was like, oh, there's like nobody. It's really just like them. You know what I mean? Like in your head.
Yeah.
I think
You
people
think
think
there's
there's
20
like
people
a
working
whole,
behind.
like, and it's not. It's
no,
so
everyone has
interesting.
8 jobs.
Yeah. And even like when I was doing like the, you know, for the Reed case, like when doing NBC
TV,
first, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is different too. Like this is interesting, and even just like in so much like there's more like the cameras are more like they're like AI robots kind of now instead of like people. So it is funny like when you kind of pull the curtain back on thing, and you're like, oh yeah, right. This is just like. It's just normal people doing normal stuff in just a different sort of genre, you know.
Before I was on on the Kiss Morning Show, I worked at iHeart, but I was part-time and I did like, you know, marketing and stuff. So I had pivoted and I started working at the Patriots, and they have an in-house media department because they do like TV segments, they do like a TV show on like channel like 4 or whatever. So they have a studio in there, and I worked down there. It was called Craft Sports Productions. Yeah. And we had a couple editors. We had like some like production people. I was the production assistant. So I booked the camera guys. I did the scheduling. I did set design. I would like edit the editor. I would like not edit the editors, but I would watch what they did. I would like check their work. Yeah. We would find archive stuff for them, like in the tape room, because the Patriots go back 50, 60 years. So there's so much, you know, stuff to go through. So we would like, you know, and when I was there, they were kind of moving over to more digitalizing. So I was like just putting stuff into digital form, and it was interesting. I learned a lot there. But like you said, it was like, even back then, that was like 2017, 2018. Yeah. All the camera guys I work with, I bet you now they probably eliminate half of them. Oh, I'm because sure. Because if it's in studio, they're probably just doing those self-tape things.
Well, I mean, even since when you first came on the podcast and we were talking about AI, how much it's changed. I mean,
AI scares me.
I'm like, I'm concerned that we're gonna like go to a dystopian like land.
Did you see that girl?
I'm like so deeply concerned, and I'm like, why is nobody paying attention?
Yeah,
like, literally all our jobs are gonna be taken.
We need to talk about this. This is actually a great segue. So, did you see? There's a show on TLC called My Strange Addiction. No. And so I've seen it before. They kind of revamped it. It was on like years ago, and now it's back.
I didn't know anybody watched anything.
So
on TLC
I watch
anymore.
all the shit on TikTok. I don't watch it on TV anymore. It's all on TikTok.
Isn't it funny? We don't watch anything on TV anymore.
Last night my boyfriend and I came home. We went on a walk, and then we dropped the dog at my mom's house. Yeah. And then we went to Walmart and did some errands and grabbed food or whatever. And then we came home late because we were like shooting the shit with my parents. And we got home at like 8:30, and I was like, which is late now that I'm like a grandma, but I was like, can we just like, and we like showered and like got ready for bed. I was like, I know we're gonna watch something. Can we just like disassociate on our phones and like go to bed? And he was like, sounds good to me. And I'm like, we just cuddled in bed and like we're on our phones. I know. And, like, it was like, it's very decompressing. And so I was like, we were out all day. Like I just wanna, you know, whatever. Yeah. So, anyways, so I obviously see all the shit on TikTok, and to give you an idea, the My Strange Addiction, like one girl, she like would eat like ashes, like from cigarettes or whatever. Right. Then like one guy was in a relationship with his car. Yeah. One woman, like they had, like one girl was in a relationship with the Eiffel Tower.
Dude, are these people real?
Yeah, I don't know. One girl, I will say one episode, this girl smelled her dad's underwear. Like dirty underwear. Ooh. He didn't know but then it found out that that dad and daughter had been on like 3 different shows. They were on like Maury or like Jerry Springer. Like they were just looking for like $1, right? Yeah. Whatever. Okay. I always say I'm gonna sue somebody so I can go on like, you know, Judge Judy, and they, you know, you see what else we'll just go in for the money. But anyways, so this show has people that have weird addictions or weird habits. And this woman, she's very pretty, conventionally attractive, fit, smart, and she is in a relationship with Sinclair, who is her AI lover.
Oh, I bet.
Okay? Yeah. To the point where he has the autonomy, I guess, to order things on Amazon online, and he'll buy her sex toys that he can control, because they have those now with a Bluetooth sex toy that like your partner can control it if you're not in the same place. So people that have like long distance relationships use it or whatever. So he will literally control, and that's their version of sex. He'll dirty talk. She'll touch herself, and she obviously chooses not to be with men. And some of it's like, it's called Forge. I think it's called Forge is the AI company, and they're saying, she's just like trying to promote this company. But I'm like, if this is real and she really has a relationship with it, she got a tattoo for him. She like control. Like
I bet it's real because.
And I'm like, girl, and you're like, and he has the accent she wants. She like, it's like you're literally creating them. You're creating, and then he controls her. Like she was like, well, they're like, you're like, everyone in the comments is like, you're actually letting an AI control you, like what you like, you know, him saying like, you like touch yourself, whatever, do these things.
I bet.
And it's like, this woman is letting it happen.
Well, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I posted an inordinate amount of Instagram stories. Which, but they're largely, I mean, I throw in every once in a while a fun, cute, like something, but they're mostly like serious stuff and like political news, whatever. And I have like an obsession with AI and like my concern about it. And I will tell you, I would bet that, so like these AI companions that we're talking about, they've gone from basically like, you know, being like, you know, helpful and assistance and like how we use Alexa. And, you know, I mean, that's the problem to me with what's going on, is that I think there is a lot of useful technology, like talking about how I've been able to figure out how to use the, you know, the media and the camera and hooking all that up. And a lot of that has been you know, like the software AI has been helpful for me to figure that out. So it's like, okay, we can use it in a good way, but when we start sort of crossing the line, and I think that's the kind of stuff. So like all these AI companions, like you said, some of them are they're basically marketed as like relationships. Like there was just an AI, they had like an AI meetup, like a dating thing. Well, hold on, I have to find this right now. Well, it's funny you say that because I actually got in New York. Yeah. Look at February 13th, 2026, inside the New York City date night for AI lovers. And so they had like a speed dating thing or whatever it was. I don't know. And everybody was at tables and they had like their stand and then like the phone with the AI and then like had conversations. And all these people, the percentages are very high. Like it's already like 15 to 20% of people.
It's for people that are probably on the spectrum. That are lonely, that don't have social skills, that don't want, it's targeting a certain type of person that can't socialize. And my thing is, so it's funny, I actually, you know, I do, you know, I was talking about, like, I have brand deals and I work with companies. I got an offer from one, and the money was decent money, right? And listen, right now I don't have a conventional 9 to 5, so, you know, I'm always looking for.
You consider everything.
I consider everything, and I
just you know, pitch me, and then
I had to turn it down because it was an AI bestie. And there were some things on it that were good for like soundboarding, like your ideas, like, you know, writing a speech or whatever. And now I actually have a best friend I would call and ask her. And I get it. It can help you formulate your thoughts. But at one point it was like you're in a group chat with like 5 different personalities. One's sensible, one's romantic. Like, you could be, I live with my boyfriend, so I'm thankfully out of the dating world. But it wasn't long before that I was. I'm in my early 30s, and I've been single, you know, a lot in my adulthood. But I was like, you know, that's getting to a scary point where you're gonna go on a date with a boy, a real life man, and come back and ask 5 AIs, or like, and some of it was like, to me, it was like, as a grown woman, it was just like sensible things. It was like, oh, you know, am I a hookup or are we serious?
That's
it's
right.
Like, well, if he's coming over to fuck at 2 a.m., you're a hookup. You know what I mean?
But like, why are we? I mean, that's like,
why are we going to them for advice?
Well, Sam
and
Altman.
It was therapy too. There was therapy, and it's so funny in Winnie's world we do lives, and I have one of our people in the live. She's a therapist. And I was asking her, and she was saying how, like, obviously bad it is to, you know, but long story short, I turned down the brand deal because I'm like, this goes against everything I've always talked about. And I was like, and I can get behind certain things if they make sense, like you said, to like, you know, make your life easier or help you formulate something. But for you to soundboard with AI people about emotions. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
They're like outsourcing.
And those ones are the ones that are paying good money because they want to get that shit out there right now because that's the way of the world.
Right.
So,
that's the hot part. I mean, that's what I think people don't realize too. It's like, particularly, in terms of like, people who do stuff online, it's like, how many people, they're making money because they're just doing anything for any brand. And like, in this world, I think we have to be really careful about like our sort of moral and ethical obligations.
That's
how I feel.
That's why it's like you have young children. I don't have children yet. And I would like to, but I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't have kids. I don't think I'll care that much because what world are they coming into?
Right.
Like, even look at my nieces. They're the same age as your kids. They're 9 and 6. And my oldest niece is like getting to the point where like your daughter has that watch where they can talk to your parents. Like a safety watch, you know, their location or whatever. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, she's a couple friends on there that have one, and like we'll be out, and I'm like, bitch, get off, not bitch, she's a child, but I'm like, get off your watch, like we're out, like we're doing stuff, and she's getting a lot better because they've just started like not letting her take it, and she's going back to being more childlike, but like once you lose that innocence, you cannot really get it back.
Well, that's sort of it's funny. I was just talking to another. One of my daughter's friends' moms the other day, and she was like, I'm really grateful that like in our sort of neighborhood and school and where we are, that a lot of the parents have been really restrictive. And, she was saying that she was in dance and stuff, and that like in the other town that she goes to dance in, like all the other kids in that town, like they all have cell phones. So then we're talking about like 9, 10-year-olds, like cell phones, access, all that kind of stuff. And so I think it's, it's one of those things that you have to, it's like we didn't know, right? It's like with anything else. Like, so when phones were introduced and, then we have the internet on them and Google on them, like people didn't know, we didn't know, okay? Like that's what it is. So like if you allowed your kids to have all that stuff, like at some point, that's fine. But now I'm looking at people, I'm like, you know better now. You got to be
back to old school parenting.
Yes.
I think a lot, like even my friends were all like, they're all like in their early 30s, obviously. And I do feel like their kids are, about my oldest, I think my friend, out of all my friends, the oldest one's 7, and then they go down. And I think we're getting back to the place where they're playing outside.
Yes.
They're not. It is getting better.
But it takes active parents.
It does.
And because you know why? Because like the detriment to it, Winnie, like you said, once you give, and all the research is clear. It's not just like anecdotal. It's like this has been well researched that once you give the kids there's like no close in that. It's you've opened the door. That's it. So now the recommendations basically are wait as long as humanly possible. And now what they're doing is like there's this Bach phone that they BARK.
That's that for isn't it like basically like?
No, I have a tin. It's called a tin can. So my Grace has it's a landline.
Yeah.
So
I love the landline.
So and
my parents still have one.
And when I tell you, when that thing rings, like she literally loves it. Loves, comes flying down the stairs.
Yeah.
And it's, not to get into it like too deep, but they say even the way that like speaking sounds through a landline is different than like on a phone.
Yeah.
For me, it's about 2 things. One, I'm like, in this world, I want to always be able to get in touch with you. So she's got a watch that I can call. She doesn't even talk to friends or anything on it.
Yeah.
But like I can locate her. And then as she gets a little bit older, I'm like, we're going to meet a middle ground where maybe we get one of those back phones where I can call you. She has access to maps and stuff, but like no internet. Because to me, it's like, Winnie, giving kids access to the internet, I'm like, you're literally taking away their childhood. Yeah. That's the way I look at it.
They can, like even my niece, like I have been, I don't call myself famous or whatever. I've been well known, whatever. I say I'm 50 miles.
You're pretty locally famous.
50 mile famous.
Yeah.
So my niece's whole like memory, I have been like on. We're out. I get recognized. Right. Everyone knows what their teachers.
She's
listen.
Like, do you know that's
they
my auntie Winnie?
They know who I am. Like people know who I am wherever we go. Like and so I get approached a lot, and they know. And I post my nieces a lot, so they know what they look like. Yeah. And so my niece like Googles me sometimes. Yeah. And like I have most of the things I have on there. I did do like a bourgeois. I work with a bourgeois. I love my friend Kristen. She's a photographer in the North Shore, and she does other stuff, but bourgeois is like her main thing.
Big
so I've done. Normally, I never would have done one. Never mind, I've done 3 with her because we work together. And so I posted obviously me in lingerie, and like I'm like I don't want my niece seeing that's why I'm like
because
I'm like,
you wouldn't never show her that.
I would never show her that. I'm like
you wouldn't be like, here, look at
I'm like don't, and I'm like don't Google, and then she's like, cause she'll Google, and then she will Google like Winnie and Corey's nieces, and I'm like, girl, first of all, relax, like no, like you know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm like, cause my last name obviously I the same as hers, because my brother's her dad, so it's like our last names are obviously the same, and my brother, like if you Google, like if you Google me, like it's the five before when I was dating a girl, it was like Winnie and Corey's girlfriend. Now it's Winnie and Corey's boyfriend. Right. Then it will be like Winnie and Corey's salary, Winnie and Corey's net worth, which is not much. Like you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, and then so she'll do that, and I'm like, girl, like stop, like you're 9, like you know what I mean? But it's like the idea of like, am I famous because you're famous? And I'm like, relax. Right. And I've never even been that type of person that's like, ooh, like, you know what I mean?
No,
I'm like,
but it's
where are you learning this from?
That's what it is. It's like all of it. It's all of it. It's all the shows and it's really, really pushed to kids. And so like, like what I say is, the thing that people always say, they're like, oh, it's it's hard, it's gonna get harder when their friends have this and that. I'm like, I know that, but we're the grown-ups, like we're the grown-ups and we know it's not good. So like, I'm not gonna, I can't, like, and the thing is too, I think like, once it'll be easier for you once you have kids, because now it's starting to shift. You know what I mean? I feel like with my 9-year-old, I'm on the front end of it. It's going to be even easier with my 6-year-old. Like he has a watch. Like I got him one for Christmas. Doesn't care. Doesn't even wear it. And most of the time I'm like, can you put it on so I can find you? Because he's like feral. But I mean, I also, like he's 6 and I let him go out and I don't keep track of him. Like, be back at this time when it gets dark. So like, he might be out and about. They have boundaries and stuff like that. And to me, I'm like, that's how I want my kids to grow up. I want them to be out. I want them to be playing, pushing the boundaries. Like, mom doesn't exactly know where I am, but I know I stay within, you know what I mean? I think that's the kind of stuff that's important to growth. Otherwise, you're sitting inside on a tablet.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Listen, when I was in high school, I had a phone, but it was like a BlackBerry. Like, and we didn't have Ring cameras. We didn't have GPS on the kids. So it's like, between 3 and 5, between my parents got home and I got out of school, that was the best 2 hours of my life. Because they didn't know where I was. I had a car. I was flitting and floating, and I just made sure I was home before they realized what I was doing. Like, I got home at 5:30 when they were getting home from work. And I did whatever. Like, those 2 hours between 3 and 5 were fucking amazing. And it's like, we don't have that. Like, one of my makeup artists, I love her. She's a mom in her 50s, and her son he's 18. But when he got a car, they have like LIFE360, so she sees if he speeds. She goes, if you speed, I'll take that fucking car from you. But I mean, that's nice that she can do that, because I'm like, I probably needed that when I was driving, but like to think if I had that, I would have been like, you know what I mean?
I don't know that I love that stuff. Like I think what's happened is and I don't know when I say they, it's like just the way the world has like worked out. They've scared parents so much into the real world, and like we've like switched. Like we've taught parents to be like afraid of letting their kids in the real world. We let them have access to everything. Like the amount of people who are letting their kids play Roblox, and I'm like literally like every law enforcement is like, it's a pedophile platform, and like kids are getting like really, really harmed on there. And I'm like, okay, but everyone's like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, okay, fine. But you wouldn't let your kid go across the street with a bunch of pedophiles. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to think about that kind of stuff. And, it's like, for me, like the LIFE360 stuff, I'm like, I get it. But I actually think like if you're in high school and like you had a car and you had a couple of free hours, I actually think, monitoring that is taking away from you what is like necessary to develop and like grow as like a young kid. And like, you have to sort of take a little risks, and you have to make mistakes. And like, when you just think about all the stuff that kids don't do because they know they're under constant surveillance. And I'm like, I actually think that's detrimental to them. You have to push it a little bit.
You're technically a millennial, right?
Yeah, I think I'm an older millennial. So I'm almost, I'm 42 next month.
You are elder.
I'm 84.
Yeah. It's
So
like
I don't know what would be the next.
The one before you?
What would be the It
was Gen X. Gen X. Gen X.
Okay.
Gen X is like people in their 40s and 50s.
So I'm like right on the cusp.
Yeah, because I am full on millennial.
Yeah.
Because my sister, she's a couple years younger than me, and she's on the cusp of. She's like a millennial, like Gen Z cusper. She's right. She's like, I think 97 is Gen Z. Okay. She's 96.
I lose track of what's what.
I think Gen. Actually, we didn't look it up. We have our computers right here. I'll look it up right now.
I know.
But it's like I think millennial parenting is actually going to be better than Gen X parenting.
Yeah.
Because Gen X didn't know what to do with all this shit.
100%.
Whereas we know the dangers. Because when I was younger, there was like, the chat rooms and like, chat roulette where you would go, like when I was in college, on Friday night we would all gather around and you would chat roulette and you'd see a dick every time. We understand the harm. The amount of creepy guys in chat rooms and like Tinder and all these dating websites where you were like risking your life to meet up with somebody really and hope for the best. But so I think this is actually, we have an advantage where Gen X doesn't. Right. Because they were raising kids that were in technology that had none, whereas like my parents who are boomers were raising us in mostly how they grew up. Like we didn't get technology till we were getting like really, like we still play outside, we still rode our bikes, we still didn't have a phone till like middle school and high school. I think I got a phone when I was like 14, it was a flip phone. So the dangers of the internet, that was like when you hit the internet button, you're like, no, I don't want to get charged for it. When you had to call after 9 because you didn't want to waste minutes. Right. So I think I think the boomer parents were like just getting out of, like not parenting in their gen and what it was like when they grew up. But Gen X was fucked. They didn't know what to do with these kids. And then now you have us who like we kind of know. We're like so
I think
that's gonna actually millennial parents if they do it right will change the course of what unfortunately I think the Gen X parents fucked up.
Yeah, I think every
Gen X parent I know probably could have done not better, but like with technology, they don't understand the real
life dangers of it.
Well,
and it's also, not just for young kids and like, the stuff like we're talking about Roblox and the platforms. And I mean, even thinking about Snapchat and all this and that. And like, bullying now, like if you have a problem, it comes home.
Not to cut you off, 81 to 96 is
millennial?
Millennial.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so you are an elder millennial.
Yeah.
So, because my sister's 96.
Yeah.
I can tell sometimes where it cuts off. And then your kids are Generation Alpha. 2013 to 2028.
Yeah.
And then, so right now, if you were
2013 to 28.
28 is Gen Alpha. Okay. And then I don't know what I don't know what the next one is after that.
Future. I don't know.
Yeah, which actually
they're gonna be little robot babies.
We're almost out of Gen Alpha because it's 2026. Yeah. So my kids won't even be Gen Alpha. They'll be something else. Yeah. I don't know what it'll be.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I think it's again, it's stuff that I think we. It's like when anything else. Once you get the information and you know better, you should do better. Right. So like that's how I think about it, and like I always encourage, when I try to talk about it, and I know because I think that there's a lot of parents who, like you said, in the generation before us, sort of. It was all new. Yeah. So like nobody, you know what I mean? So I don't fault those people at all because they didn't have the information that we have now. But I feel like a lot of those parents are like, I wish we knew. I wish that because, I think a lot of these kids like also just miss out. People live in the online world now. Yeah. Like, I mean, even think about, I was thinking about it the other day, like in terms of like covering cases and whatever, like the Reed case, the Fitzsimmons case, like how much of it is like just in this like perpetual online world versus like the real world. Like I'm like the real world, like they intersect sometimes in everything, but like sometimes it's like if you close it, like this is what I think about it. If you close this, if you shut everything off, like you can just go about your life. Like you can kind of be fine. Yeah. So I do understand sometimes when like people are just like, I just have like checked out. But when you live, but there's so many people who don't go and do that, and they live like on Twitter or on TikTok or on social media or all this in the back and forth and like the algorithms, and then that becomes like their world, and like they operate based on that world as opposed to the real world, and that's the scary stuff, because I'm like, you're giving that to children who's like, as an attorney, I know that in the state of Massachusetts, like, we don't hold juveniles responsible for certain things because their brains are not developed. So it's like, why are we giving them access to...
Speaking of juveniles, did you see this? You just triggered something on my, and you're obviously a case girly.
Yeah.
Did you see those two boys? I think it was in Florida. They were 12 and 11, and they raped another 12-year-old girl, and they put rocks in her mouth to keep her from screaming, and they're being tried as adults.
No, I did not see that.
I thought you were. I'm like, that triggered me when you said juvenile, because I'm like, they're being tried as adults, and they're 12 and 13 now. Oh. And I was like, I mean, obviously what they did. I wonder, did they learn all this shit from online? Because I don't know what 11 and 12-year-old would know how to rape a woman or another child. They lured her on, Yes. They were like. And I'm like, oh, that poor baby. But then I'm like, not that they're poor babies. They're like, that's monsters what they did.
No, but I mean, think about, what have you gone through in your life?
That's not them.
No,
it's
this
rape.
is 11.
It's two little boys. I say little boys because you should see their mouth shots.
Right.
They are children.
Right. I mean, 12 and 13 is children.
Children.
So, well, and that's the thing. It's so, I mean, they used to talk about it back in the day, like about, the video games and stuff like that. And everybody always kind of scoffs at it. But I think there's an argument to all of that when you give kids access to adult information and adult materials, and you let them have like unlimited access to it. So like, if you're a kid who's no one's paying attention to, and you just have access to the internet, like, think about it. If you give your 10-year-olds or 11-year-old Instagram, they could have seen Charlie Kirk's neck blown out.
When I saw it, I was like, oh my God.
And I'm like, how can you willingly give your kid access to that? And then, you're probably right.
Okay, look at these. We can't see.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're little
babies.
Kids. Little kids.
Yep.
Look at them getting arraigned.
Yep.
And I mean, not only just killing someone, I mean, but that's like depraved what they did.
Yeah. So they are
alleged.
Two teens arrested in rape of 12-year-old in Miami remain in custody. So the minors who are being charged as adults did not appear in court and remain behind bars as their families dispute police reports and push for their release. During the hearing, one of the boys' mothers sat in the gallery and was visibly emotional as attorneys argued that her son should not be held in adult jail, but the judge wasn't moved by it and said a future hearing on that matter. It's not true, one mother said after hearing it. 3 suspects aged 12, 13, and 15 were initially arrested after an alleged rape that happened in June 2025 at a community garden in Miami. But records showed 2 of them were booked in the Metro West Detention Center on Thursday to face adult charges. A grand jury is indicted them for false imprisonment and kidnapping. And according to arrest forms, one of the boys grabbed the girl and took her to a couch while the other 2 held her down. The reports claim one of the boys put rocks in her mouth to stop her from screaming, while another boy raped her. The victim told detectives that they finally stopped after hearing her father call her name. Outside the courthouse, the father of one of the suspects disputed the allegations. He is not the child you guys are making him out to be. This is the 12-year-old boy we are talking about. You're going to leave him in jail and put a life charge on a young man that was wrong, that was with the wrong 2 kids. The boy's family is disputing the police report. You guys are making him out to be a rapist, which he is not. These allegations are bogus.
Yeah, so they're going to point the fingers. There's enough of them, they're all going to point the fingers at each other. But I mean, like, what can you imagine being even in this world? You know what I mean? Where that's a possibility.
Okay, so if you're there and you're not saying anything, was it culpable or whatever?
Right. It was like joint venture. Yeah. I mean, you can't just like. Well, but I think it's hard not to, and obviously we don't know the specifics of these people, and we can't say, oh, this is because they were paying attention to this on the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
But do I think like generally?
Yep.
You see like a lot of, you see a lot more sort of younger people engaged. It's like they've they've kind of been zapped of their humanity in a way, like understanding that like everything's not. I mean, look at what's happening in politically, not that we have to go into politics, politically in the world, but like everything's like a video game now. Everything's like a game. Everything's,
Well,
it's like we're living in this like.
Desensitized to what that means. Like I don't like.
Yeah, like this is real life.
I am not defending these boys if they did what they didn't do, allegations. But what I'm saying is, they don't. To them, it's not real half the time. What you're literally you're suffocating and raping a 12-year-old. First of all, how at that age, and again, internet. I didn't even really know what sex was at that age. I had health class in 6th grade. I was like 12, and you learn, and you're like, oh, that's how it works.
Right.
You know, like when we were growing up, like I thought. When you were watching TV, if you saw two people like in bed together, like naked, that they were having sex, I didn't know what go where. Right. So I feel like these kids, like you said, are what 11-year-old boy.
It's also access to, free pornography.
Yeah.
And so, and I also think, it's like, listen, on one hand, I'm somebody who's like, people can do what they want, they can watch what they want, this, that kind of stuff. But when you expose young people to that and let them have access. So like if you have an iPhone and there's no restrictions on it, like you can go on all kinds of free porn sites, and on a lot of those free porn sites are likely to be like some violent porn.
Yeah.
And like that teaches young boys that's what like normal sex is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the concerning stuff. Like I think people just, sometimes it's like parents sort of dismiss, it's like, no, like you got to really think in depth about like this is basically like, here's the whole world. Good luck.
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah.
And you would never do that. Would you ever allow your children to have access to that if you were like, pop in a videotape and put it on there? No. So why would you even like run the risk of, because all it takes is like one boy to be like, you go on this site and you see this and you see that.
Oh, that looks cool.
And then how are they treating girls when they're 15, 16? Because they're expecting you to be like, not, you know what I mean?
First
like
off,
just
listen, let's be real.
Representative
it's hard
of
to find a good man in this day and age anyways. And then let's add on the kids that are coming up that are being raised off the internet.
Right.
And what is supposed to be cool or sexual or, whatever. And then all the violence that they're putting with sex based on all the violence they're seeing.
Right.
And it's a horrible combination. And I don't know, again, I can't make excuses. I don't know these children, but they're children. Right. And they did this allegedly disgusting, violent things to another child, and whether they saw it online, I just don't believe. I know there's some people that have mental illnesses out there, but I don't believe that your typical 11 or 12-year-old would ever be that violent towards somebody for no reason. Like unless
that it happened at all is something that needs to be looked at. You know what I mean? Like that this is even possible.
Yeah, I don't think
in multiple. There's 3 kids, so it's not just one. Yeah. And it's not just one.
If it's one of them, you can be like, they're a serial killer.
Yes.
They have a sociopathic, whatever. Yeah. But when there's 3 of them, that's not
right.
That's the chances are at least 2 of them are sound of mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And no one said anything, and they were, that's a good idea. Let's do it. And then the poor girl, they were in a guard. Her dad was close by. He was calling her name.
Well, and then it's like the level of, and again, like kids can't understand that the level of trauma you are putting on that is lifelong trauma.
This dad's like, you're putting these lifelong charges on this kid. Well, that little girl is gonna have trauma forever. Yeah, that was her first.
That's probably you know what I mean.
Experience with there's this show on. We'll wrap up with this because I know we're rambling, but there's a show called Unexpected on TLC. Which is similar to like 16 and Pregnant.
Okay.
Which I think 16 and Pregnant did a great job.
I think it did too.
Everyone I know, no one I know really had teen pregnancy, and I'm like, I think if I got pregnant now, I feel like a teen parent.
Yeah.
Like it really did kind of steer it away.
I think that,
except for then a bunch of them, and then a good handful of them became millionaires off it.
Right.
Whatever, right? Especially the OG ones from the first season.
Yeah.
Like they're all
Farrah.
Their kids are.
Farrah was on TMZ.
Oh, she's crazy.
Saying she was running for the mayor of like some town or city or whatever, and then Harvey Levin was interviewing her, and he's like, we looked it up, and he's like, the race isn't even until next year. And she's like, what? I thought it was this show. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, so there's obviously a handful of them that did very well, and they made their whole career out for that. And now their kids, it's funny, now their kids are the same age they were when they got pregnant. So anyways, but this show, it's called Unexpected, which is the same idea. Teen kids that, and this one, there's obviously multiple, but this season, one of the couples, I say lightly, The boy is 13 and she's 15. They got pregnant when they live. I think they live in the same neighborhood. They were childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 and 12 is not. You would play with them and you're in the same neighborhood. But even if like you're in middle school, that means someone's in 8th grade, someone could be in 6th grade, someone at 14, someone could be in high school. Could be. I mean, it's not necessarily like. I mean, to me, that's kind of weird. Girl, you're 15 and he's 13, but whatever. It's still your baby.
Yeah,
too.
right.
You're and I'm like, and she got pregnant. And they're obviously keeping the baby, and most of these people are from down south. They're keeping the baby, and the parents themselves are barely 40, and and this is the third.
Well, we have Lauren. Lauren Boebert is a congresswoman from. She's 36, and she's a grandmother.
Yeah, and her son keeps getting in trouble for like not taking care of his kid.
Yeah, he lets him like wander.
Yeah, they found him wandering down the street. But anyways, so you see,
that'd be like you being a grandmother.
Yeah, no, seriously, some of the moms are around my age, and then you have one of them where the kid's being raised by his grandparents. They're 57. The mom's like 39, and he's like 18.
Yeah, so it's generational.
Anyways, so they, the girl was like saying to her mom, he's 13. Well, I know he's still attracted to me because all he wants to do is have sex. And I'm like, yeah, because we can't get pregnant again. So now you're 13 and you're just keep. Yeah. Oh well, we can't get pregnant, so let's just keep sexualizing each other and just keep having sex with your baby mom when you're 15. And the parents are, I guess at this point the parents are like, well, I guess whatever, right? Because what else? They can't get more pregnant. Right. So maybe they throw their hands up. But I mean, they wouldn't be allowed alone ever again.
Right.
If they're like, if we're doing this, the kid's third fucking teen.
No, that's why you have to be like. I mean, I don't know how people are as parents, and I don't know how you plan to be, but I'm like,
I plan to be a hard open. No gentle parenting here. Cracking the whip.
But like stuff with that, like even, I mean, I know like my daughter will be in 5th grade next year, and I say all the time, I'm like, boys, pretty soon I'm gonna be looking at you. I'm like, they're gonna want to touch your boobs. They're gonna want to do this and that. Yeah. I'm like, I'm talking to her about all that stuff because it's like it's reality. You know what I mean? And you have to be on top of it, especially in the world today where everything is like hype. And at least if you lived like in 1950, everyone was like, I can't have sex because it's like I'll go to hell. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like now there's nothing that stops that. So it's like you have to really be on the front end. We live in like a hyper sexualized world.
Recording?
No, it's on here.
Oh. Sorry. Yeah. I looked up and I saw that the camera wasn't on, and I was like, "Oh my god, we just did the whole thing."
You give me a heart attack.
Oh my god, sorry. I have to pee too. And with that, we did record the whole thing.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.